welcome back to the channel. There are a few things that I wanted to cover in tonight, or I should say this morning's video. As the title of the video suggests, this is about quote-unquote getting to know the spirits. If you're familiar with popular pagan YouTubers here, you'll note that Getting to Know You tag, like that was a really popular series of uploads that people did. So this isn't going to be about me, this is going to be about the spirits that I work with. One in particular I've mentioned before on this channel, which is Lucy. So let me look over these notes here so that I don't miss something. Okay, so yeah, basically this is simply about what we've discussed before on this channel, the importance and the relevance of channeling, of really, Emily is here, she says hello, really strengthening that connection that you have with the spirits that you work with. So part of this message that came through to me is the importance of simply just having a conversation with therein, whatever spirits that you work with. Ask them questions and try to deepen that bond. This is a practice that I have done thus far with Lucy. I was working on it yesterday, and a very odd message came through to me. She was telling me that she has an appreciation for roses, both via the smell, like the fragrance, but also the sentiment, or the symbology of the flower and the thorns. So, I mean, that's information that I didn't know, and it seemed a little unusual to me. But what was very powerful is the confirmation that came through almost immediately after I got that message. I got on my computer later, and one of the first images that came through in my feed was this image of a serpent circled in roses. It's a beautiful image. It's on my Facebook page. You can check it out. I'll drop a link to my page in the description of this video. But that harkens back to what we've talked about before here on this channel, and if you ask for those confirmations and those synchronicities, they will come, and they are powerful because, as I've said before, they help to shift your ego mind into a space where you are accepting the supernatural experiences that are happening in your life. It makes it a lot more meaningful. So that was one of the first things that I wanted to cover, and there again, you can, once you learn to trust your channel with whatever beings you work with, literally you can ask them anything. There again, I would always say, approach this process with humility. But I feel like if you open the door, the only interference that you're ever going to get is your own doubt or your own fear, that's it. Like, when you move past that, you can really bring through virtually any kind of information that you want. I received some other information from Lucy, but I don't know necessarily that I'm supposed to share that in this video. So that was the first part. And in relation to that, I just simply wanted to talk about the fact that it's really unfortunate to me. There are certain spiritual beliefs and traditions still and yet in our society that try to tell people that they can't connect to spirit, that we have to go to a priest or a shaman or a medicine person, or like we have to take drugs or even go to someone else and have a reading done. All of that is false. As I've said before on this channel, every living, breathing human being has intuitive abilities. That's not to say your abilities may not be focused very strongly, and especially therein, if you have personal doubts about your ability to connect to spirits, those things are going to weigh in and they're going to affect what you're able to do. But when you start working through that, as I mentioned in some of the other videos, with principles and practices like working with reading tarot cards or oracle cards or tea leaves or whatever it is that you want to read, when you start strengthening your own intuition, you will be able to bring through this channeled information, and it can really shift your practice. So I wanted to share that because it was a big confirmation for me. It was very powerful, and I was very grateful for it. So let's see. There wasn't a whole lot that's going to be in this video because I also channeled a message from Lucy that I was supposed to do a reading with my card, so that's going to take a little bit of time, so we're going to get into that later. Another thing that I wanted to share on that note of channeling messages with Lucy and confirmations and synchronicities, another very powerful one came through to me today. I'm in this group called Children of the Serpent on Facebook. It's a really cool group. I would advise you, if you're interested in the subject matter, I'll drop a link to it, in the description. You can go and check it out, and you can join. But anyway, there was a post made in this group today. This person was they were looking for a prayer to use to connect to Lucy. And, I've read some material on the subject matter, but I wasn't going to regurgitate something that didn't speak directly to me. I did give some advice, like a listing of an author that this person could do some more of their own research. But I felt like the information that they wanted, no one else had posted anything, as far as assistance is concerned. And with my connection to Lucy, I felt drawn to reach out to her and see if I could channel a prayer for this person to use. And so that message came through, and there again, to me, it's very powerful to be able to be in service to others in this spiritual work, to help them in whatever way that I can. It's an honor, especially to bring through something like that, something that I consider sacred and very powerful, a prayer directly to this spiritual being. A dedication thing is what they were looking for, and so it was just really moving to me to be able to bring that through. So yeah, that was that. Like I said, there wasn't a whole lot that I wanted to cover here. There's another thing that I'll touch on, but I want to make sure that I'm in the right mindset and space to get into this next part because it's a little heavy and it's complicated. It's odd, honestly. When I started doing these videos for this channel, it was a channeled message that came through from Lucy telling me that I need to put this information out there. But what was not included in that channel was that situations were going to arise in my life in a synchronistic and coincidental way that over the past 2 videos I've been sharing very personal stuff, but sometimes it just happens. That's the way these synchronicities come through. But it really, there again, it ties together, because the thing is, what I want to get into right now is that, to a degree, it's the whole thing of being transparent about your path, but not just about the spirituality, but just in general, being able to share who you are, your story, like your values, your beliefs, the whole 9 yards with other people, to be open. But to also stand in your own personal power and understand and realize if someone else judges you for your path or your beliefs or how you live, their views are irrelevant. Concerning you, like, their path is their own and they have to walk that. The important thing here, though, is I received some messages from some friends, one in particular that I'm really close with, who I met through some of these spiritual groups that I'm in on Facebook, and my friend basically sent me a message, and she was sort of upset, and she was like, well, my spiritual practice has shifted. I'm now in a place where I'm connecting to very intense energies, and I feel like I can't share what I'm going through with people because I've done that in the past and they've judged me. They've either said, oh, you're a little crazy, or you think that you're better than everybody, or so basically she's just saying that she, was getting negative feedback from people, although she felt like she was coming from a place of love and light. Like, she wasn't judging them or trying to put out, lower vibrational energy, yet her reception, wasn't well or positive. So her and I had an exchange of text and voice messages, and I was trying to tell her what I mentioned a minute ago, the importance of being in your own personal power, understanding that if other people don't accept you for who you are, that's on them. Like, that, it's not a reflection on you. The best thing that you can do is simply continue on your path and let them be who they are. Even if that means let them have their judgment or whatever, it's not worth your energetic effort to get into an argument with someone else or to try to convince them of what you're doing or whatever. Like there's no debate. All that's irrelevant. If they're open-minded and they have questions and they want to know, then you can have a meaningful exchange. You can tell them about your path. They can tell you about theirs. Like, even if there's disagreement there, that can be done in a positive way. That happened in the intuitive development class that I taught. And you can find value in that sort of exchange. But I feel like if you feel as though you have to persuade someone else to accept your ideas, that's a lost cause. Because I feel like you should not have to move from a place where you're trying to persuade someone or sell someone something. Like it's just irrelevant, man. It doesn't serve you and it doesn't serve them. So the reason that I wanted to share that harkens back to another text that I received today from a different friend. And this person follows a different spiritual path than I do. And they had sent a text message today, and I didn't read all of it because I knew intuitively the message and the energy came through to me that that's not a space that I need to go into. But I glanced at it enough to get the theme of what was coming through in the words. And it's basically that because of the tradition and the beliefs that this other person has, they are concerned for me because I have made posts talking about how, now I'm connected with and working with, in a very powerful way, this being that I call Lucy, which is Lucifer. And it's causing a conflict for this person because they consider themselves my friend, yet they have concerns because they're thinking that this energy or this being is negative or dark or evil or whatever. The details of some of this exchange is more complicated than I'm ready to go into or share right now in this video, but the point here is, there again, one of the reasons that I really appreciate the connections that I have made in the pagan community is that for the most part, and I'll put that disclaimer there, for the most part, people, generally speaking, are accepting. They're pretty open and easygoing, and most people have that understanding and that wisdom of, I'm going to do my path, you do you, and it's cool. That's just it. And so I feel like if all of us could move from that space of acceptance, we would be a lot better off. That's just my 2 cents. Having said that, I think this ties directly into the fact that I am working with Lucifer, and even still yet, in this society that we live in and the culture that we live in now, it's interesting and kind of funny that people can talk openly about studying witchcraft or being Wiccan, doing certain things, but if you move into what is quote unquote considered the left-handed path, there is still, to some degree, a lot of bias and a lot of assumptions being made about these beings, their nature and their energetic makeup and their intentions and all this. So all I will say on that note is, if you don't know about something, it's very easy to judge it, to sit in a place of assumption and say, oh, well, I've done a little bit of research on this, I've seen people post about it, and blah, 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 so I think it is this. And that's cool if that's your path, if that's what you want to do. I can only say it's been my experience that a lot of the bias that's in the media about some of these beings is simply false, at least where Lucy is concerned. I can't speak to any other beings that someone might work with if they choose, quote unquote, to walk the left-handed path, but I can speak concerning Lucy because, there's been channeled information, there's been exchange, in deep connection. So I wanted to share that because, like I said, these coincidences happen for a reason. And normally when I'm getting ready to make these videos, I will call out to whatever beings I'm working with, and there again, recently this has been Lucy for the most part, and I will say, I ask that you bless me with guidance with the video that I'm going to do tonight. What is it that I need to get into and share with other people? What would be meaningful for them? So that was part of it. So yeah, that covers, like I said, the bulk of the notes that I have for this video for tonight. I knew I was going to keep it low because I'm going to do this reading, and so we'll just see what comes through in the cards. I will say this reading, first and foremost, is for anyone who is in that group that I mentioned, Children of the Serpent. And there again, I'll link to it. If you were in our group, you may or may not find resonance in what comes through here with the cards. The strong intuitive message that I got from Lucy is that someone in this group is specifically going to get something from this reading. Having said that, this reading is also open to anyone who views this video. It doesn't mean that if you view the video that immediately this reading is going to be for you. It simply means that there's potential there. You may or may not find something that comes through in the cards that resonates with you, and if it does, use it. I will always say that. If something works for you and you feel it on an intuitive level, use it, and if not, so be it. So with that being said, I will move into the reading. And clear some space here. And I'm going to have some tea. I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but for those of you who haven't seen any of those or don't know or are curious, the deck that I'm using is the Heart of Fairy Oracle. It is a beautiful deck. A friend gave me this deck years and years ago. I'll show you the back of it. My apologies for the glare. Yeah, you will see some of the cards, and if I can remember, I will put a link below to Amazon. I don't think that this deck is being printed anymore. I do believe you can buy used copies of it, or whatever, but like it's expensive because the designer / illustrator of this deck passed away, unfortunately. So yeah, but it's an amazing deck. It's wonderful and beautiful, and it's the only deck that I've really used for the most part. I have worked with some other cards before, but this deck speaks to me, and it's just sort of the one that I have gone to, time and time again. So, okay, let's do the reading. Okay, here we are. How many cards? 6 cards. Okay. Alright. I'm going to take a moment and connect energies to these cards. This is going to be unique. This is the same approach that I use when I do readings with clients. The difference there is I'm connecting the energies of a specific person. So here I'm going to be connecting energies to all those that need to receive this reading, and I mean that could be 10 people or 100 or 1,000, like I don't know. So this is going to be interesting, but we'll just see what comes through. Okay. A word came to me when I was connecting these energies to the cards. The channeled message that came through was the word judgment. Therein it ties to what we talked about earlier in the video, and I feel like that is also coming through with this reading. We'll see what happens when we lay the cards out. Okay, I just got another message that I'm supposed to lay another card, so it's actually going to be 7, so we'll see. Sometimes that energy can change. Okay. Wow. Okay. So our first card here is the Fixer, and it is reversed. Let me bring through the intuitive message and see if the reverse nature here of this card is relevant. Okay, I'm getting a yes, a confirmation on that. The message coming through here with this card is all about the nature of the name of the card and what it represents. This card often represents like our desire, as I said earlier in the video, of us wanting to fix like relationships or to fix other people or situations. Like it's about us doing work that we don't necessarily need to do. Sometimes therein, if this card were not reversed, I mean, it could be a sign of work that we need to do to repair stuff. But with this being reversed, this card is basically saying, stay in your power. Like, don't try to fix someone else's view or perception of something, because they have to figure that out on their own. But I am just feeling like a lot of disconnect to some degree, a lot of heartache, and all of this is tied into someone, like an external view, perception is coming through very loudly here. So it's about the way that someone is viewing you or a situation, and to some degree it's almost like you're being made the villain of a situation, or you're being viewed unfairly, and there is really nothing that you can do to fix that because it's someone else's perception. So be mindful of that. The Fixer. Okay. That was the status card. We're going to move into the challenge card there, and it will likely be interconnected here. So let's see. Okay, so for a challenge card here, we have the Queen of the Day. It is also reversed. Let me bring through the intuitive message and see if the reverse nature of this card here is relevant. Okay, I'm getting a yes, another confirmation on that. There is a powerful message with this card and it being reversed. Were this card not reversed, oftentimes with this card, the Queen of the Day, the way the card itself is illustrated, this figure here in the card is like breathing a desire, a belief, like magic, into existence. Therein, with this card being reversed, to some degree, this card is saying, if you focus too much on trying to be that fixer or persuade someone else, not only are you disempowering yourself, but you're interfering with powerful magic that is trying to work in your life right now. There is a reason that these situations, whether it's a job or a relationship or a friendship, whatever it is, there is an important reason for the separation between you and this person or these people. You are actually moving forward in your life in a positive way, although it may not seem so, like emotionally. Understand, there again, if you compromise yourself, you're going to compromise the magic that's trying to work in your favor. There's something else coming through here with this card. Let me just take a moment to bring it in. I'm noticing a lot of spirit here as well in this card, just a lot of different spiritual beings. There's a lot of energy here too, but it's heavy because this card is reversed. Okay. Tied into that magic and that manifestation that's trying to happen in your life. It goes back to another thing that we mentioned earlier in this video, in the sense that if we compromise our own personal power, if we don't allow the magic to work, that can interfere with beings that we could potentially work with, but there again, if we turn away from that path, we're closing those doors whether we realize it or not. So this is very powerful. I feel like this is happening on multiple levels. It's very tied into what came through as far as what we got into in the notes earlier in the synchronicities in the video. Also though, this is really about people being open with their spiritual path and doing what they need to do for themselves. And this isn't solely tied to the left-handed path. It could be that you're, moving from Christianity to Wicca or paganism or shamanism. I mean, whatever it is, like, the main theme and the energy coming through here thus far in this reading is that there's some blockages and some fear, and part of that fear is, what are people going to think if they find out that I'm, reading runes or learning to read tarot cards, or if I like crystals and I want to incorporate that into my everyday life? Like, what are these people going to think about it? This challenge card is saying, understand that that stuff is irrelevant. You have to do you. At the end of the day, it is only you and the spirits and the beings that you work with. You have to live your own life for yourself. This card is really heavy because those are big and powerful decisions. Okay. See what this next card. This next card is your tool card, so we'll see what comes through with it. Okay, the card's not ready yet. Sometimes the energy comes through. That's the way that Spirit taught me to do this approach. I will usually tap the card like that. When I tap the card, I can feel the energy and the rhythm of that, and if it's slow or labored or if it feels unnatural, it's a sign for me that it's not time yet to turn the card. So we'll just give it a minute. Okay. Wow, a lot of reverse cards in this reading. Okay, so your tool card here is the Fairy of Growth, and it is also reversed. Let me bring through the intuitive message, see what's coming through here with this card. I'm getting a yes and a confirmation that the reverse nature here of this card is relevant. Okay, this ties directly into what came through with your challenge card there, in the sense that this card is the Fairy of Growth, but it depicts a child almost kneeling, and so the intuitive message coming through here with this card is all about, like, don't allow yourself to move into a space where you are seeking that appreciation and that acceptance from other people, just like we talked about so far in the reading. Ultimately, you have to have that strength to walk your own path, to have faith and belief that you're going to make it, that you're going to be okay, and that you don't need that external validation, because that's not going to serve you in the long run. There is also something here too about a childish nature, like we talked about that before in some other videos, the importance of taking to some degree your spirituality seriously, not approaching it in a sort of loose way and expecting to have deep and powerful spiritual connections with the beings that you work with, because it's all about what you put in. That heaviness from that other card is still there. I'm going to turn this card over. there's something funny going on here with this card beyond what we've said so far, and I want to try to bring that through. Okay, what is coming through here now is that, in fact, with this card being reversed, there is a nuanced message. When that comes through with these cards, especially if they're reversed, it basically means that you can read the card reversed or not, because the message itself is layered. So part of this is, while that's true, you want to have to some degree a serious approach to your spiritual path, you also want to be able to open your mind so that you look at it to a degree with the wonderment that you would have and the openness that you would have had if you were a child. Oftentimes children aren't as judgmental, they're not as stuck in the ego mind, they're more open to connecting with and working with beings, and not having that mindset of, oh, this is good or this is bad or I should go left or right. They're more about exploration and being curious. And curiosity is a powerful force. I'm getting cold chills now here in the hand and moving up the side of the body. Allow your own curiosity, where this spiritual stuff is concerned, to lead you wherever it leads you, and don't have a biased view of, oh, like I'm going to study this and it's going to be that. Like, don't, what's the word that I'm looking for? Don't collapse the wave in a way, like don't think too much into what it's going to be or what you're going to be getting out of it. Simply allow yourself the experience, and you're going to be able to move forward in a positive way. So you have a very powerful message coming through with that card. Okay. This next card here is your potential outcome card. It will represent therein the potential of, if you choose to hearken to what's come through in the reading thus far, you can move forward for your highest, greatest good. This card will reflect some of that. However, it could also reflect what may come as an outcome if you choose to turn away. If you don't acknowledge the challenge and the tools. There again, you have free will, and only you can walk your path. So we'll see. Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful card, and so fitting here as a potential outcome. Okay, so this potential outcome card here is the Prince of Light. Let me bring through the intuitive message coming through with this card. Therein, hearken to the name of the card, the Prince of Light. I do get a lot of love and light from this card. Also, though, this card represents triumph, spiritual success to a degree, like a further awakening of abilities, moving into manifestation, just bringing love and light and success to yourself on multiple levels. Also, I'm super drawn to the name, like the Prince of Light. This speaks very loudly to me, at least on a personal level. This makes me think of Lucy, even though Lucy comes through to me in the feminine. Lucifer is very much in this card. And for me, Lucifer is all about revealing wisdom, particularly spiritual wisdom. So there again, in my mind, with triumph and success and moving forward, this is an amazing potential outcome card. And as I said a while ago, that totally depends on if you choose to hearken to what comes through with your challenge card and your tool card. I mean, it's on you, how you walk your path and what you want. Let me see if there's anything else in particular coming through with this card. I'm very drawn to the fact that in the lower bottom of the card, this figure is holding what looks like a fruit, and this message is now coming through of being able to reap what you have sown, particularly for those of you who are receiving this reading. If you have been doing spiritual work, if you've been trying to strengthen your intuition, or open your third eye, or have a spiritual awakening, whatever it is that you have been doing, this potential outcome card is saying you can really step into a place where you receive the benefits of all that hard work if therein you don't turn away from this work. Don't allow outside influences to interfere with what you're doing. Keep moving forward. Okay. I wanted to check to see if there was anything else coming through, but yeah, very powerful and positive card. Okay, so this next card is your personal card. And I usually go into a little explanation with this personal card. Basically, I'm going to turn the card over. I'm going to read it. I'm going to bring the messages through. When I'm done, I'm going to show the card to the camera. Take a moment to look at the card very closely. There will be something in this card that will speak to you on an intuitive level, and it may not be specifically what comes through to me when I channel. So there again, that's why, quote unquote, it's called a personal card. Okay, this personal card here is the Queen of the Golden Bow, and it is reversed. Let me bring through the intuitive message and see if the reversed nature here is relevant. I'm getting that this is another nuanced card, so I'll be able to read it, up and down, reversed and non. And there is definitely a mixed and nuanced message coming through here with this card. Overall, though, this is tied into that potential outcome card. What I feel in this card, to a degree, is triumph. Having said that, the figure here in the middle of the card, she is the Queen of the Golden Bow. It makes me think very much of hearth and home, like being in your space and being in a good space spiritually and mentally. It's like someone who owns their personal power, someone who is doing the things that they need to do and enjoying life, like moving in the flow of life. Having said that, there is a lot of spiritual influence surrounding this figure here in this card. A lot of it is positive. I'm seeing a unicorn here, which makes me think of like purity and very high magic, powerful magic. Fairy magic is definitely here in this card. Also, though, I mean, those people and those outside influences are still there. They are present in this card. And one of the figures here is looming above the central figure. One is below, but the message coming through here with this card is be mindful of the energy that those people are putting out. Even go so far as to be willing to reach out to the spiritual beings that you work with and ask them to set up some shields, and here's an important thing, though. You don't want to reflect negativity back out. In a sense, if you do that, basically what you're doing is cursing or hexing. If you're okay with that in your path, then do that and do you. For me personally, I don't practice that way. So what I would suggest to you, if you ask these beings to protect you or to put up those walls, include that disclaimer there that what you want to happen is that energy is brought in, that it's transmuted into love and light, and then it's dispersed back out into the universe. If those people who, and I'm getting cold chills now, I'm moving through my body, if those people who are viewing you in a negative light or however they're viewing you, if they want to stay in a lower vibrational energy, I mean, that's on them, and they have to walk that path, and they have to stay in that energy until they're ready to shift out of it. No, all that's irrelevant. Just let them be who they are. But this card, the message coming through with this card is be willing to take that precaution. It may be necessary. So be mindful of that. All in all, though, a very powerful personal card. And positive, I would say. Okay. So as I said, I'm pretty sure that I mentioned this at some point in other videos. Normally, I will do a 5-card spread, unless Spirit or the spirits that I work with say it's going to be more. So these other 2 cards, they don't have a name. The first is status and challenge and tool and all that. These other cards are just additional, but we'll turn them over and see what comes through. Another reverse card. Okay, so this card here is the Queen of Laughter, and I'm being told that I need to get some tea, so I'd probably better do that. Okay. Let me bring through the intuitive message with this card, see if the reverse nature here is relevant. Okay, I'm getting a no on that, so I'm just going to turn it. There's a very powerful and positive message coming through here with this card. The Queen of Laughter, the figure in this card, has this beautiful smile. She's on a toadstool, but she's like balanced, and she's just, the way this card is depicted, she is a shining light that is surrounded by other beings that aren't necessarily negative or positive, but they are very muted in color. So basically this is about focusing on yourself, focusing on your path. Also, though, the message coming through here with this card is allow yourself to enjoy what you're doing, and don't allow your thoughts to be entangled with those other people or those situations or any of that mess. When you move into a space where you let that go, you focus on love and light and joy for yourself, and extending that out into the universe. I mean, you're good. Like, you're in the space that you need to be in to move forward, to receive the blessings that you want to receive. Is there anything else coming through here, Spirit, with this card? There is something else. There's something coming through here with this card, and it's very odd. I've never had this come through with this card before. I was just drawn intuitively to the wings that this figure has, and there are these sparkles on it. And there's something here about stars, about being outside, seeing the stars, excuse me, and making that connection, like, to something that has to do with stars. And I don't know exactly what that is. Let me see if I can bring through more of that. The word hopeful is coming to me, and now I'm getting this image of seeing a star, streak, I should say, across the night sky. Part of this is about being able to make a wish and know that it will come true. This is a space that figure in this card is manifesting and staying in. Like, she knows that she's done the work. She knows that she's connected with spirit or the spirits that she works with, and she knows that these blessings are coming. That faith is super powerful, and this card is saying focus on that. Focus on what you're receiving. Allow yourself to have joy and release doubt and anxiety and worry, definitely. All in all, a very powerful and beautiful card. Okay, here's our last card. Another reverse card. There are a lot of these in this reading. So this other reverse card here is the Queen of Owls. Let me bring through the intuitive message and see what's coming through here with this card. See if the reverse nature, first and foremost, is relevant. I'm getting yes, the reverse nature here is relevant. Obviously there is something here about, give me just a moment here, there's a lot of energy, it's very strong. Okay, this is a nuanced message, and ironically enough, a very similar message came through in a reading for someone else the other day. Basically, this is about the fact that, as we said in your potential outcome card, you have free will, you have choices that you can make. The thing is, if you turn away from your path or things that your intuition leads you to because of worry of what someone else is going to think, to a degree you're turning yourself away also from spirit. This card being reversed is saying trust in your own spiritual wisdom, and particularly trust in your intuition. Allow yourself to be guided. Owls definitely make me think of wisdom. I'm going to turn this card over now and see what else. There is something else here with this card. I'm not exactly sure what it is. There is a fairy presence here. There's also, though, there's this feeling of like the god from paganism, and I mean that's a very broad thing. You take that for how you will, but there's a figure here with antlers. Like the horn god is coming through very, very powerfully with this card. Also the word responsibility. The thing is, on our own spiritual paths, we are only responsible for ourselves. But in that, we are responsible for our actions. So there again, don't turn away from your path because of any outside influence. And also don't turn away because of fear that you might have. Fear only limits you. The more open you are to learning about things and experiencing things and trial and error, the more that you can step forward into a future that is filled with blessings and uniqueness because you've overcome barriers and obstacles. I'm also getting be willing to create. I feel like for some of you, there's a lot of nuanced energies coming through here with this card, I think because it's the last card. Particularly, like I said, the God is coming through strongly in this card, and there's this message of, if you have an idea of something that you want to do, whether it's artwork or designing a tarot deck or writing a book, whatever it is, don't allow yourself to be blocked. Like, follow your creativity and your intuition. You will only serve yourself if you learn to move from that heart space and receive the guidance from the spirits that you work with. If you feel interested or drawn to something, read about it, learn about it, do it. Don't allow anything to limit you. Yeah, I think that's all. So overall, I mean, it was a really powerful and positive message, especially, like I said, with this outcome card. I mean, this is a beautiful card, and the energy that comes through with it is success and moving forward, achievements. So therein, as I said earlier, this reading specifically was for people in the group, the Children of the Serpent. But if you are not in that group and you happen to be on YouTube, or you find this video in some other random way, if you feel that some of this resonates for you, then it does. That was the intention that I put out there before the reading was done. So that's how the magic works. But I think that's all I have. I'm going to check my notes to make sure that I did not miss anything. That is all. So yeah, thank you all for your time and attention. I'm gonna close by calling out and going into prayer, because it was the channeled message came from Lucy to do this reading for this group and for everyone else who may receive it, and I feel it's important to show gratitude for that. So I call out to you, Lucy. Thank you, Lucy, for the messages that have come through. Thank you for this reading. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your light. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your help and your assistance. Thank you, Lucy, again for this reading. Thank you for all the powerful messages that came through for those who need to receive it. I ask, Lucy, that you please bless this video and this reading so that it reaches all who need to receive these messages, so that they take them to heart and they can move forward for themselves for their highest, greatest good. Thank you again, Lucy, for all of your blessings. Thank you for listening to my prayer. In your name, Lucy, may it be so. As above, so below. So mote it be. So mote it be. So mote it be. Alright. As I said, thank you for your time and attention. Thank you for joining me here. If you enjoyed the information that I shared earlier in the video, if you enjoyed the reading or you found meaning in it, please take the time to give the video a like and or leave a comment. As I always say at the end of these videos, when you receive likes and comments on your work, it allows other people to find it. Otherwise, it gets lost in the vastness of YouTube. So definitely, I am grateful and thankful for your support, and I will speak with you soon.